Well, I'm here in Epsom with Nick Goff, a professional punter. Nick, thanks for inviting us to talk to you in your home here. For people that don't know you, can you introduce yourself please, briefly?
Yeah, Nick Goff, 38, professional punter, have been for a couple of years now, having had a sort of lifetime in betting, from the sort of the misspent youth of a 15-year-old sneaking into a betting shop through to working for various bookmakers and then going it alone a couple of years ago.
So you say 15-year-old sneaking into a betting shop. When did your interest begin then in betting and gambling?
Okay, I come from a family of recreational bettors, people that all like a bet, like a game of cards, but none that have ever done it more seriously than that. I remember as young as I can remember, really, the West Midlands branch of our family used to head to the south coast every single end of July for a glorious Goodwood. That was their week off, and they'd all 15, 20 of them head down south and sit up on the Trundle Hill at Goodwood. And I remember being taken along there every year and used to love it. But even at that age, 7, 8 years old, I think, I knew it wasn't the racing that appealed to me as much as the betting. And back in those days, betting was the racing was the vehicle. If you wanted to bet, there weren't the other options. And I remember standing on the Trundle, 6, 7, 8 years old, watching, being besotted with how bookmakers operated, and just finding them more interesting than anything else. I remember learning lessons back in those days, and the funniest one was I think it was a 1988 Sussex Stakes, and there was a horse trained by Guy Harwood called Warning. I think people of our vintage might remember, and it was a very short price favourite. And I was watching the bookmakers and wandering along the line and watching them all change their prices. And I saw something, and I ran back to my dad and said, Dad, Warning's not running. And he said, what? I said, yeah, non-runner, not running. So my dad's up there on Trundle Hill at Goodwood, wandering along to his family and his mates, saying, oh, Warning, non-runner in the next race, not running in the Sussex Stakes. And this has put waves across the Trundle Hill. Warning's a non-runner. 2 minutes later, the commentator shouts out over the loudspeaker as the horses are going down to the post, and there goes Warning with Pat Edery going down to the start. Obviously it is running. So my dad's come up to me and said, you told me Warning was a non-runner. And I said, well, look at that bookies board there, Dad. It says betting without warning. And that was clipped round the ear, stupid boy. And that's how I learnt what betting without meant. It didn't mean the horse was a non-runner.
So you became a bit more professional after that first lesson. What was your first real foray into betting itself?
I'm amazed when I watch the videos that you put out, and any other story that comes from anyone that's now a professional gambler or a punter or has had any sort of lifetime in betting. The amount of us that were at some stage the school bookie, and the same story occurred with me. And it was the 1995 FA Cup that I decided I'd run a bet in school. I was about 15. I had to run a book, and after each round, who were the most popular team? Who were the team that everyone wanted to back? Man United. So after each round, I reprice it and I lay more. And I'm thinking, well, you haven't got to pay out till May here anyway, so you keep laying them. And the book, you know, they just kept getting a bigger loser and a bigger loser. And they played Crystal Palace in the semi-final. And Crystal Palace went 2-1 up in extra time to knock Man United out, and I'm 10 minutes away from scooping the lot here. Man United equalise 2-2, it goes to a replay and they win. And they're in the final against Everton. Now, Everton had just stayed up by the skin of their teeth, and United, well, that year they came second in the league to Blackburn on the last day of the season. Everyone will remember that Blackburn won the title at Anfield. United must have been, I don't know what price they would have been to win, to lift the trophy, but at least 3 on, I would have thought. I was dead. And I had Man United to lose about 400 quid as a 15-year-old. And I reckon I had about 150 quid in cash. So even from those days up at Goodwood and going around the race courses with my family, I knew that if Man United win, I had to pay out. Otherwise, you know, I was worth nothing. I had to be able to pay out. And like the bookies I've seen, you've got to pay out with a smile in your face and do it first thing Monday morning after they win it. So I had about 3 weeks between the semi-final and the final to earn 250 quid. and asked my dad if I can wash his car. Can I do the washing up? All these things I never would have dreamt of doing. My parents must have smelt a rat. I'm going next door asking if I can wash their car to try and earn this 250 quid in 3 weeks so that I can pay out on Man United if they win the FA Cup. So it gets to the morning of the game, and I've almost got there. I'm about 30 or 40 quid short, and I've gone to my brother and said, look, this is what's happened. If Man United win the cup, can you cover me this 30 or 40 quid that I'm short so I can pay out Monday morning? Yeah, fine. So I've got the money, I'm ready to pay out. Everton have got no chance in this cup final. Anyway, Paul Rideout scores for Everton after about half an hour. And it's wave after wave of Man United pressure. And for whatever reason, they can't score. Everton held on, 1-1-0. And I thought, that's 1-0 to the bookies as well.
I've got to say, Nick, if all the bookmakers you've ever met paid out with a smile, then you've been a very lucky punter.
Yes, but I remember being at university, and even in those days, and it's something I'm proud of actually. I've never knocked anyone for any money ever betting. I've paid up every single bet immediately. It's one of those things I think my dad instilled into me. If you lose a bet, you pay up, and it's something that I've held true to all of my life. There is one story. There is one case where this almost didn't happen. I was at university in Bristol, and two of my best mates have also ended up in the industry working for bookmakers or professional punters themselves. We lived together at university, and we kind of egged each other on and moved each other towards working in the industry rather than just being a recreational sort of enjoyment. And we went to Cheltenham races. It would have been March of 2000 probably. The Wednesday or Thursday of the festival. After racing, we've gone back to a pub in Cheltenham town centre. It's called the Dawn Run, right in the middle of Cheltenham. And it was a bit of a dive, to be honest. It's closed down now, so I can say that. We've gone into the Dawn Run about 7 o'clock in the evening, and on Sky Sports the greyhound racing started, and there must have been 60 or 70 Irish lads in the Dawn Run that night. And I thought, well, here's an opportunity. I said to the landlord behind the bar, dog racing on the TV, mate. Any objection if I run a book here, take some bets on a dog racing just for some fun? Guys at the bar fancy a bet? Yeah, go on, son. You're fine. So first race comes along. It's all good fun. I walk along the bar. Anyone want to bet at SP on these dogs, lads? Fivers, tenors, 20 quids, range of dogs laid. Get back to the corner where my mates are, and it's like, well, we can't do any damage here. We've got the two rags to win a good few quid. The favourite breaks even. At SP, we've done nicely. Another 2 or 3 races like that, we're a little bit in front, everything's good. About the 5th race of the night, it cuts back to Sky Sports, and they've got this dog. It's flown in from Ireland for the race. This is Munmore or something, but they've got a dog come across from Ireland, 9-4 fav in the big race of the night. Anyway, the commentary's come on, and all these Irish lads have heard this. They all want to be on the Irish dog. So I've gone along the bar, and all the big notes start coming out. I'm only 21 years old. All the big notes start coming out. £50 trap 1, £100 trap 1, £20 trap 1. All the way along the bar, all we've laid's trap 1. So 2 minutes before the off, I've gone back to my mates and said, look, how much cash have you two got on you? 200 quid, 250 quid. Well, we got trap 1 for £2,000 here. Shit. Goffy, what are we going to do? We're going to stand by the door. If it's in front of the last bend, we're gone. No, we can't do that. Well, have you got a better idea? No. Stand by the door then. They come round the last bend, 1 and 6, neck and neck, and 6 gets up on the line. And so to this day, I've still paid every single bet I've had to.
So you lived by the skin of your teeth in the Cheltenham bar.
Learned a few lessons that day, that's for sure.
So what was your actual first bona fide work in the industry?
So after university, I managed a betting shop in Clifton in Bristol, which is a very nice part of Bristol. It wasn't a very busy shop, but it was a good place to sort of learn the ropes. And I did about 9-10 months managing a shop. Good shop, good customers. Ian Carnaby, the racing journalist, used to come in and have a chat a couple of times a week. Really nice guy. I loved working in that shop. And back in those days, the Racing Post had a real vibrant classified section with lots of jobs available, and junior trading jobs were coming up all the time. So I sent my CV in for all of them. I wasn't getting anywhere. Then out of the blue, I got offered an interview with Boyle Sports. I didn't even know who they were at the time. Over in Dundalk, flew across to Dublin, got a taxi up to Dundalk, sat in this interview room thinking, I'm this 22-year-old guy, I'm the next big thing, I know everything. Really, I knew nothing back in those days. I sat around a table with 3 guys in their 50s in suits, asking me questions. I didn't know the answer to any of them. I came out that interview thinking, absolute disaster, there's no way I get a job in betting. I'm going to have to do what all the other economics graduates that I know are doing and head to the city and trying to find work in a bank. That's what everyone did on my course. That complete disaster, the Boyles interview, almost ready to give up. And I applied for a job, another company I'd never heard of. And again, people that were around 15 years ago will remember it. There was a small company called Super Odds. They were based in Walton-on-Thames. And I was interviewed by a guy called Mark Phillips, who ended up going to be the betting patterns investigator at the Jockey Club, now out in Australia. And I clicked and I got on really well with Mark. And I thought, if I'm ever going to get a job here, that's the one, because we spoke about betting in general and racing and football and everything for a good couple of hours. And I thought, this is my chance, this is the one I'll get. But 2 weeks later, I'd heard nothing. And I thought, I'll just drop him an email and ask for some feedback on the interview, because I can't do much better than that. And the office manager stroke PA lady mailed me back and said, we sent you a job, we sent you an offer, did you not get it? And she'd sent it to the wrong email address. So if I had never chased up that interview feedback, I might never have been in betting at all.